create an Angular application and host it on Firebase hosting. So first of all, we need to have an Angular application for which we need to create it. So I'll say hello world and new hello world. So this command will create a new application that says Angular application. It asks you to add Angular routing. So I'll say yes because we're gonna need routing. It asks you to add CSS. We're gonna say yes, and it will start adding up the packages that is required to run our Angular application. Meanwhile, when we have to host it on Firebase, so we have to create a Firebase account. So first of all, what we will do, we're gonna search it on Google. We're gonna do Firebase, and we're gonna go to firebase.com .google.com. Once we go over there, we click on go to console. Once we go to console, we can see this particular page where it says that create a project. So we'll create a project. We'll name it as Google University, and we'll continue with this is university. We'll select a default account with it, and meanwhile it's creating the project. Well, let's look at our application. It's also installing up. So once it's all installed done, what we're gonna do, we're gonna open it. Let's open the application. So application inside Google application university and hello world, and the application has been opened. Let's start the application. In this tutorial we just gonna learn how to uh, host it on Firebase. So you can check out my other tutorials where we have discussed about how we can create an Angular application, how we can create components, how we can create routings, how we can work with the services, etc. So in this application, we are totally focusing on hosting the application. So as you can see, the project has been ready, and after the project has been running on Firebase, we need to create an application, web app that will be available on Firebase. So as you can see, we have iOS, we have Android, we have web app. So we'll select a web app. We'll create a name over here. So let's say we'll call it Hello World, and says yes. I also set up Firebase hosting for this app and register the application. It will tell us about some commands that we'll see. It will ask us to install these particular JavaScript files, but we don't need it because we're gonna use it through npm node package manager. It also asks us to do npm install Firebase tools. We have to install it. If you don't have this and Firebase tool inside the system, you need to run this application. But I do have already, so I don't need that. I have already covered this thing in our other tutorials where we have covered about Firebase login, Firebase authorization, Firebase init and deploy. So let's continue to the console. When we come to the console, we can see the mobile application, the web application, web app over here, hello world. Now, as you can as we go there, we can see the config file. We need to copy this config file, and we need to go inside the environments here and just Firebase and this. Okay, and now need to do Firebase login. So please check out my other tutorial where I discuss about how you can log in with Firebase account. Now I am logged in with a different account, so I need to log out from that particular account and again do the login. So it works same as the web interface where do you log in, log out, and so yes, and I come to this particular page and log in with Google University and allow it to manage the data, and I can see that I am landed over here. I'll do Firebase init. Once I do Firebase init, I come with the particular features where say database, Firestore functions, hostings, and storage emulators available. We have to choose hosting, so please press spacebar and press enter. Then select an existing product that is Google University and hit enter. So here Here is a trick. Most of the developers fail over here. So it says that what do you want to do use as a public directory. So our public directory gonna be a dist folder. So we need to create the dist folder first. So to create a dist folder, we need to do this ng build prod. So this will create a dist folder where the compiled Angular application code will lie. In that compiled Angular application code, there will be one HTML file and different JavaScript file and one CSS file. So CSS file will be corresponding to the styling of the application. Index.html file will be corresponding to the HTML part of the web application. So these three part combining creates a dist folder from this particular application. As you can see, that we have already created a dist folder with the hello world. That is the name of the app. That is the name of the application. And we have the style CSS, we have index, we have all the different JavaScript files. Now, that if that has been created, I can delete this terminal and I can go this and say dist slash hello world. So here is the directory. I don't need to write. Press no need to write. Don't override because it's already has been added. So and press no, and as you can see, the initialization has been completed. Now you need to deploy it. So deploy command is Firebase Deploy, and you need to pass a flag that says that you need to deploy only hosting. So as you can see, as you saw that there were 6 features available. One was storage, one was hosting, one was Firestore, one was functions, one was emulators and other stuff. But here we were only caring about hosting, so we took care the hosting part. And now as you can see, if you go to the project inside the Firebase project, you will see inside hosting there will be an app that has been already hosted in this particular account for free. So you can create this application and share it with your friends. So as you can see, the hello world application is there. Now let's do something new in the application. So I don't want this default screen to be present on the our app. We want something new. So we'll go to app component, we'll delete this, and we'll say h1, we'll say hello world. So this is one particular example where I'm trying to show how you can update your application with Angular Firebase hosting. So again, you need to do this ng build and prod. It will again update the dist folder of your Angular application, and that dist folder will be deployed to Firebase hosting, and that Firebase hosting will be rendered to a particular domain where your user and your friends can access your application. So just give it a moment. Once it's creating the dist folder, meanwhile I want to explain it to you how you can add a custom domain you can buy from GoDaddy. So from GoDaddy you can buy a domain and you can append it through Firebase hosting, and that this particular app that is running on this unformatted domain subdomain will be running on one particular beautiful domain that you own. Okay, so now as you can see, the build has been processed, right? So after the build has been processed, you have to run this command Firebase Deploy, and only you need to pass a flag only hosting. It's really great to pass a flag every time, because most of the times when you have multiple Firebase modules deployed in the same application, it asks you that what do you want to deploy. So currently we are using only hosting, so we need to have Firebase Deploy with only hosting. If you check now your application on that particular platform, then it says hello world. So as you can see here, as you can see inside app component HTML, you have written hello world. So this is representing hello world. Earlier it was something different. Earlier it was something like this. Okay, we remove all this content, we change the content, and when you upload the document, you can share this URL to your friends if you have built a beautiful app. Now the next part would be how we can create this domain doesn't look good, your friend won't like it. How we can create a custom domain where this particular sub this different domain will point to a subdomain. So we need to click on add a custom domain. So I have a domain school.in. I'll enter school.in over here. Don't enter something like this, okay, or something like this. Don't enter something like this or subdomain. Please enter a root domain over here and press on continue. Once you press on continue, it will ask you to verify your ownership that you own this subdomain. Once the ownership has been verified, it will ask you to add these particular these particular A records on your domain services or domain registrar, that is currently GoDaddy. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do one more thing that's really important in terms of our security of our application. We'll go to Cloudflare. Cloudflare provides us a highly secure environment where we can protect our website with DDoS attacks. So what we need to do, we need to sign up with this DDoS attack, Cloudflare, and we need to add a site. Because I don't have a site, I need to add a site. I'm gonna add school.in. So I need to add the domain over inside Cloudflare. Cloudflare will tell me that these name servers you need to update to your registrar. Registrar means the owner of the domain. So the owner of the domain, if you look at the owner of the domain, if you look at, so let me go through GoDaddy, and here is the GoDaddy account, and I sign in. I signed in. I go to the domains. I own multiple domains. As you can see, I need to use school.in. If I go to school.in, I'll see these are the settings available. I need to have the manage DNS. Inside the manage DNS, we'll go and all these information we can see. It says that it has been parked. The name servers are these. The default name servers are these. So these name servers correspond to the location of this particular domain with the corresponding server or hosting provider. So currently Firebase is the hosting provider. We need to add the Firebase hosting with the GoDaddy account so that our domain and our app will get connected with each other. So before that, going to GoDaddy, we need to set up the Cloudflare account as we left off. So we confirm the plan. We'll select a $0 per month plan, and it started doing the DNS scanning, and it will come up with the DNS scanning. It says that your school.in points to this particular IP address. I'll click on continue, and I click on continue with default. It gives me these name servers that please put these name servers at the place of your default name servers. So if I'll come to GoDaddy, I'll see these default name servers are available: ns71 domaincontrol.com, ns72 domaincontrol.com, and you can see log into the registrar account, right? Determine your registrar via who is. We don't need that because I know which is my registrar, and remove these name servers. So we need to remove these two name servers, ns72 and ns71. So we need to remove it. So we need to click on change. That we are doing in GoDaddy. So GoDaddy is responsible for having my domain. Cloudflare is responsible for taking care of my DNS and the security and the DDoS attack and doing the caching on the edge server side. So I'm going to click on the enter my own name servers, and I'm going to put these name servers over here, and there's another one name servers. I'm going to put that. I'm going to save these name servers. So once I save these name servers and I select the consent and I continue to with these name servers. So in the first go, you won't see all the data updated, so you need to refresh the page. So please refresh the page. Once you refresh the page, again refresh the page. If you don't see the data updated, I think we need to refresh the page again. So one time will come where it says that we cannot display your DNS information because your name server aren't managed by us. Because right now the name server is managed by Cloudflare. So every information will coming over here. All the records. There are multiple records like A records, CNAME records, NS record, NX record, MX record, and many other records. So it says that all these records are managed by your Cloudflare account or a different account. If we click on OK, these three things will pop up that will say improve your security, optimize performance, and the summary that what you have achieved so far while setting up Cloudflare with the GoDaddy account. So you click on get started, it will say improve security. Inside improve security, you're gonna see what is your SSL and TLS inscriptions is made for. If you gonna select, there are four modes basically: off, flexible, full, and strict. Off means you don't have to do this HTTPS, connection is secure. Flexible means if this gonna be non-secure or secure, this flexible is applicable. If full, it matters that Cloudflare has an SSL, but your origin server, that is Firebase, doesn't have a good SSL server, then this will work. If you do full restrict, means your Firebase has a good SSL certificate and your Cloudflare has good SSL certificate, then this will work. Otherwise, this will fail. This will tell users that you are landing to a unsecure website. So it's really important that you select full most of the time. If you are confident that both of your certificate on Firebase and GoDaddy are exactly same and they are authenticated, then please go ahead with full with strict. Now it says that always use HTTPS. It means whenever a request comes from HTTP, redirects it to HTTPS. It's really important, so we need to do save yes. And then it asks about optimizing the performance. As we are using an Angular application, the latest model of Angular application, Angular 9, there the modification of JavaScript, CSS, and HTML happens automatically when we build the application, and that same application, as I told you, get deployed to the server that stays in the dist folder, like this index.html, these JS files. All these CL files are minified. The Css files is also minified. So we need to use. We don't need these optimized performance, and we go save and go ahead. Broadly compression is basically to compress the pages to load the increase time, so we don't care about that and say save. And this gives us a summary what we have achieved so far with doing this configuration, and we click on finish. When we click on finish, it gives us again the same screen that complete your name server setups. So it takes some time to propagate from GoDaddy to Cloudflare. So I think it will take around 5 minutes. And within 5 minutes, this will be done because we have already set up the servers, Cloudflare servers over here for this particular domain. Right now, as we have been through this Cloudflare and the GoDaddy, now let's hop to the Firebase, where we need to add a custom domain. So what we have done, we have added a custom domain school.in and we pressed yes. It says that you need to add these particular record type, host, and value. Now everything is managed by Cloudflare. So we need to go to Cloudflare and add these records. So go to the Cloudflare, click on DNS, and start adding records. Add record A. It says that use @ for root. So we're going to use @ for root. @ means school.in, means a domain. Domain is @ all the time, right? So I'll say @ and I'll put the IP address and I'll click on save. Then I'll go back to the same cloud hosting and I'll select the next A record that says some different IP address, 151.101.65.195, and then I'll go to Cloudflare and I'll create another A record that will go for @ and I'll paste the IP address and I'll save. So this way we have added two A records. We don't need this A record. This is old, so we'll delete it. You don't have to worry about it because you won't get that particular A record. Now I'll go and click on finish. Once I click on finish, it will send me a notification that it needs a setup. Needs a setup means school.in needs a SSL certificate from Firebase. Once the Firebase certificate has been done, the need setup will be gone. And you can see the school.in over here, and it has been added to Cloudflare. Now let's go to overview and refresh the page. If luck works nice, then it will be, yeah, it says that great news, Cloudflare is not protecting your site, and the DNS has been protected. And now look at the cool feature that Cloudflare offers. So if you click on under attack mode on, whenever you open your website, it will show up a screen that say that we are verifying your page, or it will show a JavaScript challenge when a visitor pages visit your application. So if someone is doing a DDoS attack, or someone is doing scraping on your website, it will stop them to scrape it. Now let's move to school.in. Let's see if we can see any one of those. So look at this. This is a nice screen where you see checking your browser before accessing it, and now it gives us the JavaScript challenge, and we accept I am a human. And once I accept I am a human, Cloudflare is giving me that please select that each of these images that containing a truck, means it's verifying that I am a human. If I'm a human, it will allow me to enter, otherwise it won't. Okay, so this I think is a truck. This is a truck. So I'll say okay, and it says that you have been verified and you are inside Google Hello World. Now let's go again end to end. What we're gonna do? We're gonna create a component. We're gonna render it on the app component, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so it's really easy to create a component. We need to do ngg. I think I have already covered in a different tutorial, so you check this out. We're gonna do this ngg dashboard. We're gonna create a component named dashboard. We're gonna create a routing. I think routing is already available. So inside the dashboard, what we're gonna do some cool stuff. We're gonna use some bootstrap template. So let's find some bootstrap template that's available. I think the best bootstrap template I always find with this startbootstrap.com. Here, when you come, you will find many free bootstrap template. I don't know why the images are not working right. So let's say I'll use this particular bootstrap application. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna download it. Okay, and it says customize and download for free. I think earlier, before 2 months back, it was not showing something like that. But anyhow, I'm going to download it. I clicked on download, and free download. Okay, let's see if this works. So I click on free download. That's not working either. And customize and download. I think now, yeah, I think it's downloading up. Yeah, okay. After it will get downloaded. What we're going to do, we're going to add the css file inside the asset directory. So if you look at the structure, I want to tell you about the structure of the Angular application. So what happens over here, you have a disk folder that gets generated when you do ng build prod. You have an src folder that contains the main brain of the application, where you have the components, the body parts, the assets, the cosmetic parts, and the environment, who connects to a different world altogether, and in index.html, that is the cover of the book. So src is kind of a body, and we have the angular json. This is a god that controls whole part of your body. So as you go inside app, src, and inside assets, you can create a css folder over here that will take care of all your css designs. You can create a JS folder that will take care of all of your JS. You can create an image folder that will take care of all your images, and all these assets, CSS, images, and JavaScript will gonna add to your Angular application. Now I think I guess it will be downloaded, and I guess yes, it's showing me this. And how can I download it? What do you mean by export? Send feedback. Yeah, I think I am happily downloaded it. I'll put the link in description below so that you don't find any issue while downloading these seeds. And now I have this folder that says asset css and js. So let's open our folder where we have the our application. So we have this hello world. So we open hello world, and inside hello world we'll go to src. Inside src we'll go to assets, and as you can see we have css over here. So we'll copy this css files and we'll paste inside css folder. Okay, first thing first, css done. Now we need images. It doesn't have, I think it doesn't have any images. Let's go for javascript. So I'll copy javascript and put inside the javascript. Most of the developers fails adding jQuery inside Angular application. In this tutorial we are also gonna cover how you can add easily jQuery with Angular application and give a real beauty to your application with animations and other effects. Now let's go inside, as we have done with the CSS and JavaScript. Let's go inside assets. Okay, here we have images. So now I'm going to copy these folders and I'm going to put it over here. Now as the assets folder has been completed, so I think we're going to need the root files. So root file, there is only one file that says index.html. So we need this index.html, but we need it in a different place. So let's open it in Visual Studio. Okay, so I think we have opened it already. Now the one component right now we have is the app component. So whatever happens in app happens in app. So let's start the application first. Let me check if it has been already started. So I think it's running. So it should be running at 402 4200. Yes, so here it's running. Now we need to change this hello world to the root application. Okay, so let's copy this index.html inside our root application. So first of all, whenever you're going to add these, you don't need this particular body tag inside the component, head tag inside the component. You don't even need the body tag. So you need to get rid of these body tags, and you can add the nav, you can add the header, you can add the sections, you can add all the divs inside the component. But these head and body belongs to one particular place, that is index.html. So let's go to index.html. So I think we have everything over here, but we don't need these JS files and those CSS files. So what we'll do, we'll copy it from here, we'll go to index.html, we'll paste it before the body. So that's a JavaScript that has been added. Now let's go to app, sorry, let's go to index and copy the CSS. I think there is CSS, hold on, sorry, here it is. I think there is a CSS and we need these CSS. And what I'll do, I'll copy these CSS and I'll go to index and I'll paste the CSS. Okay, the CSS has been added. One problem that will occur in our application, if you do look up at the console, do right click and inspect, look at the console, all these errors are happening. It says that all these files are not able to find because the location is not matching up. So to do that, because we have this assets and CSS, we need to write assets CSS dot heading. Okay, because everything belongs to CSS. Now assets, now again assets CSS. Now check, the errors are getting disappeared. Now there is a JS, so we have JS inside assets. So please put assets like this. Okay, so I think that has been also been disappeared. We don't need this bootstrap validation and contact me font for now. So let's remove the we need basic JavaScript and CSS. There is also a CSS. We need to have assets or CSS. Okay, so I think that's also achieved. There is some error coming from top of undefined from script.js. So for now, let's comment it. So I think we have resolved with all the errors that was happening inside the application. Now the part is to put the HTML part of it. So what we'll do, there is this ID given inside the HTML. We'll copy this one and we'll go to Angular, and there is a body. We'll paste it over here. It will give the style that needs to build the app. Now inside the body, whatever content we have before the script, we copy it before the script and after the body, and we'll go inside app and we'll control A and sorry control I'll go over here, control A and control V, and save it. Once I save it, I'll look at a different view altogether here, right? There are some issues with the images, so let's solve the problem of the images. We have stored images in images folder and it's asking that it's in image folder. Okay, so what we need to do, we don't need this file, get rid of it. We don't have to worry about index.html, get rid of it. Now we need to care about the images. So there is a beautiful feature of VS Code where you can find with control find image. So we need to replace this image. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna select assets with the brackets and copy this asset, put it over here, images, and replace all and save it. Once we save these images, all the problems will be solved. Look at this. So now we have a full Angular working application that's deployed with Angular and a Bootstrap, with which we need to make it live. The second part was this. So first of all, we need to do ng build prod that I have already shown you in the tutorial part, and when we do ng build prod, it will compile the whole application. Meanwhile, as you can see, what we're gonna do in the future, we're gonna change all this content to make it your person content. So you can tell your people, your friends, that you have a portfolio that runs on Firebase that is protected by Cloudflare. Okay, so now the 92% of the chunk has been achieved. All the what ng build pro does, it combines all the code at one dist folder, as I've already shown you over here, and inside of this folder we use to deploy it on Firebase. And once the code has been deployed to Firebase, it gets connected to a custom domain school.in, and that custom domain is protected with Cloudflare so that no one will be able to attack your site. No one will be able to do a DDoS attack. So this way we are creating a full secure environment. Now the ng build has been done. Second part will be Firebase deploy only hosting. Okay, so now this will deploy our application. Okay, meanwhile, what happens, most of the developers don't know how to protect their code, how to make their code secure when their system doesn't work, right? First of all, let's check out the page, then we'll come to GitHub part. If I'll say school.in, then this will say hello world. I'll do hard refresh. So you need to do, you guys need to do Control Shift R or Command Shift R. So I'll place Command Shift R, and I can see the new application, the beautiful application that's running on school.in, that has been protected by Cloudflare. If you open it in incognito window like these, so look at this, what happens. Okay, so this is the beautiful part that I wanted to share with you guys. And now in these following tutorials, we are going to discuss about how you can add Google login, how you can add emails, how you can talk about form filling, how you do Firestore, etc. Thank you so much guys. If you have any feedback, any comments, please let me know. Thank you guys.